It's Gordie Tumilson joining the show to talk about the past weekend of action for the teams in the academy, as well as we're going to continue to touch on recruitment and some other special things coming up in Pilot Mound. Gordie, we'll start off with the U17, starting off with the games. They came away with just looking at it,
Two
two
and two.
wins, 2-2
Two
on
and
the
two.
weekend as
Yeah.
they start off 0-2, but end off with two straight wins against Indigenous Sports Academy. Great to see this team back in action, and also nice to see this team continue to persevere the way they've done all season long.
Yeah. They had two good games earlier on. A little bit slow against Brandon. I'm not sure just why, but we didn't get, maybe we were on the bus. I'm not sure. We just got bus legs or what happened there. But Brandon took it to us a little bit, 6-1. Came back. We had a good game in against Prairie, but lost there as well. Then as you said, beat the Indigenous kids twice, and that's always nice to do when you get a couple of wins. And so, yeah, the team's back to rocking and rolling, and of course the two wins come in league play along with the one win against Prairie. So that's a bonus rather than losing to Brandon, which I think was an exhibition game.
Yeah, and that is what it's saying here on Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's website. It also said the Prairie game was an exhibition game too.
Yeah,
I'm
it may
not
be.
sure if
Yeah.
the website may be a bit off, but yeah, great to know that this team was able to grab not only one but two huge wins in the standings to build up points for themselves in the U17 division. Coming up next, they're going to be going up against RHA Winnipeg this upcoming weekend. It's going to be their lone game. Last time these two teams played, we flashed back all the way to it's been a while since these teams have played, not since November 29th when Pilot Mountain was able to win 3-1. So this matchup this time around, what should we expect out of Pilot Mound, knowing that, they're coming off of two wins and looking to continue to build some confidence?
Well, I think in that game, I know that Gavin Hill, I believe it's Gavin Hildebrand's game, and Gavin loves to play RHA, so he knows most of the kids on that team, and I played with some of them on that team Manitoba unit that went out to Red Deer and won the Western Canada Cup this past December. So yeah, he'll be keen to play, and so are the other kids. They like playing against RHA, and of course beating them's even sweeter. So there you go. It'll be a good matchup because emotions get high and energy gets high, and it's only one game on the weekend, so there'll be a lot of piss and vinegar given around that particular weekend.
That game is going to start at 3:15 this Saturday in RHA's training center. And then, yeah, this will start to ramp up afterwards. Their schedule is the Buffalo is going to be busy at the end of January, and busy to start off February as well, as we'll talk about those games when that time comes. We're going to move over to the U18 male group, Gordy, as this group came away with a valiant effort, but a close loss in the end to the Notre Dame Hounds. Overall, though, the overall feelings from this team with their first game back from the break.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought battle. These two teams go at each other pretty hard. Well, all our teams play Notre Dame. It's just like they're just meant to be. So there's some real nice battles between rivalries between these guys, Notre Dame and ourselves, and the rink. So and they heat up and they get going and they battle like crazy. And someone wins the game, someone loses, and there you go. Yeah, so it was a really good game. We came away with a loss, but the kids are learning. They're learning how to battle hard. They know that I think when they come, and they know even how much harder it is when you play against better teams and best teams and other teams that really want to play good and have great skills and a lot of energy as well. So, yep, good game there, and that'll be the way it is for the rest of the season excuse me, when these teams play one another for sure.
And also shout out to Anthony Florentino being named as the top head coach in the CSSHL's U18 prep division from the past month of December. And of course, this is a team that this season has been very well coached. A team that, of course, has a ton of new players, of course, some standouts on this squad, and a team that, just talking within the context of this game, were able to tie it up at one apiece after the first 40 minutes. But that Third period, Gordie, is where this team really fell, giving up 3 goals. Do you feel like this is something that, we see sorted out as it goes along? The Buffaloes getting back to closing like they have so well for their standards this season.
Yeah, that came as a surprise. I mean, it really did. However, that being said, going in there 2-1, it's a close game, and the puck bounces one way or the other way in the third period rather than in the second. I'm not sure that there was a letdown. I'm just or a real big pickup. I just think things happen because they do, and it's a hockey game. The puck decides what it's going to do. It's got a mind of its own. That little black thing, and it finds its way into one person's net here, there, and everywhere when it wants to, and that's that. So I don't think this is anything to concern ourselves about. Just a matter of uh, you know uh, forcing the other team to not giving them too many chances and getting your chances at the other end, and those things work themselves out for us. So not to worry, Graham. You can bet money on that one, kiddo.
Sometimes the hockey gods, Gordy, they have other plans, right? And I mean, for this Buffaloes team, a lot of motivation heading into their next game. They're on a bit of a losing streak, even though they've been playing in a bunch of close games. That's great to see. But just talked about RHA Winnipeg. Well, this team's going to get their U18 prep program coming up this Friday at the Rink Training Center. Game where I feel like this team is going to be fired up, ready to go. Always fun to play against a rival like that, right? We're going into the U18 female prep program now, Gordy, as this group starts off, well, with a close, valiant effort against Balmoral Hall. They bounce back with a 4-2 win in an exhibition game against the Central Plains Capitals on Sunday afternoon. That was down in Portage. But hey, a huge positive for this group. Had a great chat with their head coach and Ryan Carls before the break, as you know, Gordy, and he was optimistic to say the least about this group. Nice to see them coming through with a split this past weekend.
Right, and two better games for that team being that close to Balmoral. Balmoral's well, they're they're a top team, and so to be 5-3 with them, I know our goalies played well, but the whole team played better. We cut some shots down a little bit, and we got some goals. We got 3 goals, and that's that for our squad. That's kind of whoa, what happened there? But maybe the break, sometimes that Christmas break just helps the kids settle down, relax, come back fresh, and they find the sort of the clues or the magic that's required to be better at something, and whether it's goal scoring or defensive play or shot blocking or whatever it is, they get better at it because they've had time to think about it and swallow it in and gather it and put it into their system. The computer on the top of your neck is it gets overwhelmed sometimes and it needs time to gather. So it's a reboot at Christmas and we're pretty good. And beating Central Plains, they beat us the last time we played them. So good on our guys to get 4 goals. So a 7-goal weekend for our kids, and we won a game, and we beat a team that beat us the last time by a bunch. So good for us. Yay, Pilot Mound, and watch out for maybe Ryan's right. There's lots of optimism there. So let's keep our eye on them.
Seems like 4 is the magic number for this team, Gordy. And one other win this season was a 4-3 victory over Bourget College Prep. But yeah, I mean, going up against Balmoral Hall, keeping it that close has to bring a ton of confidence. They carried that over into that game against Central Plains, where, you look at that game against Balmoral, it was an iffy second period. They gave up 3 goals, but not the case in that game against Central Plains, where they have themselves a big 2-1 period. So, I mean, we talk about confidence all the time, and I'm not sure how much this really plays into it, but to know that you're able to get it done and actually finish things off against a team, which you mentioned, Gordy beat them last time, must do wonders for this very positive group's mindset.
Well, a W anytime is great. Sometimes when you win a lot, it gets to be ho hum. You sort of expect you're going to win. Sometimes you get surprised when you lose. And that sort of, you got to reboot yourself on that. But at the end of the day, a W in particular for teams at the bottom of the rung is really, really important. Anytime you can battle alongside Balmoral, even though you didn't win the game, that's a huge boost for your growing confidence, and then you come back the next day, and so, you played a hard game one day, next day you get on the bus, travel to Port de Prairie, and go knock those guys off. Thank you very much. And now you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Can't be too confident, but at least you had two good games in a row, and let's keep building on that.
And they'll look to keep building this upcoming weekend when they'll be taking on RHA Winnipeg. They got Balmoral Hall again, and that'll be on the road this time around. But going up against two opponents, Gordy, when we take a look at RHA, they're a
Fair enough,
top eight
Tom.
team. Balmoral Hall, one ranking behind them, but these are two fast teams. We know Pilot Mound, the key to their success with this group specifically is always defense first. How do they look to minimize more chances this weekend? Is it going to be about taking away that transition in the neutral zone first to try to slow these teams down, or just focusing on that all around structure first in the D zone and focusing on getting pucks out quickly?
You stole my word, structure.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's okay. It's good for you. It's a big word. It's a long word, and it's an important word. Yeah, structure is really important for the girls. They have to play to their game, their defensive. And you know what? They may have just found out that when you play your structural game, that the other team will break down and you'll get chances to score because the other team feels that they should be scoring more. They think they've got more talent. And talent wants to score. And so when talent doesn't score, they get frustrated. Rather than play to their structure, they're now having to figure it out because you're not letting them get chances. So that 1-2-2 defensive thing or whatever they're employing now on that team, harder skating, better in shape, faster, quicker, hockey IQ stuff, I'm not sure, but whatever it is, that this past weekend proved something. Now they got to keep that going, and so good on our guys to do that. And let's see if they can on a really. This is going to be another tough weekend, but that's okay. We want all our girls to get better so they can all go on to college.
No
They
doubt.
all get to play college and they all get to be really strong players in college, whether it's in Canada or the US, and maybe professional women's hockey league one day for some of our kids. So, grinding it out, battling every day, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Not winning's okay as long as you're giving it all you got and you're learning. And then, of course, some wins are nice too. So let's watch this weekend, see if we've got a plan in place that stifles some of these highfalutin teams in the league.
Yeah, and PWHL, that's the new dream, of course, for
Huh?
female hockey players. Why wouldn't
Finally.
it, right? It's the top of the top, and yeah, would be pretty cool to see a Buffalo on one of those teams someday. But yeah, I think, structure-wise, if this team is able to lock in, play together as one unit, I think that that could be potentially a recipe to catch some teams off guard as the season continues to go along for this U18 Prep Buffaloes team. We're going to get really busy coming up, not this weekend, but the weekend afterwards, as they'll be competing in the Female World Sports School Challenge at the Hockey for All Center, hosted by your favorite team, Gordie and Balmoral Hall. But as for news from around the academy, we'll get into that now. We got a female PD day coming up, Gordy. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, this is a great day. And Graham, if you can find the video from last year and throw it up on this particular our segment here today, because it'll be similar this year, but they get between 20 and 30 young girls from around the Pilot Mound area in the community. And these kids come and they find out what hockey's all about. The keen ones, the ones that who are looking now at the PWHL and at college hockey, and who want to be just as good as their brother is in their particular hockey team. So they're all looking for this. And boy, this just opens up a whole world to parents, to players, to our people, and to our kids, because our players start coaching a little bit. They get to go on the ice with the girls, and they spend a day with our players. And boy, that's what better thing that can a girl or any player, for that matter, boy or girl, get when they get to go along and be with maybe an idol, maybe somebody they've looked up to a little bit now. Now they got a new friend they can look at, watch play when they play games on the road on Live Barn and Flow Hockey. Yeah, so This is a big day. There's fitness, there's games, there's hockey twice, there's lunch, there's, I mean, and I don't know if that's not the ultimate girl pampering thing, I don't think, but in hockey it sure is. So this is a girl pampering day, and boy, if and I know some of the teams in our CSSHL and maybe even some of the AAA teams will cotton on to doing some of these things. And it's great to encourage girls to continue to grow in hockey, start hockey, grow in hockey. And, if they don't want to play ringette or they don't want to do figure skating or they don't want to do other things, hockey's a nice avenue to go. And we've got a place for them to give it a whirl. It's a great day.
And what's great too about the female game, Gordy, is now more than ever, there's more places for women, girls to play. And
Yep.
I think that's fantastic because I know growing up, I had a chance to play with a few girls on my hockey teams, but obviously it's strange growing up with, the logistics and stuff. And girls want to be with, playing with girls, right? And I
Yep.
think that with PWHL now coming into the fold and just seeing how the sport has grown and Pilot Mountain being able to have a day like this, I think that's just fantastic. And something that I think to note too, they noted in kind of the description of the PD Day Camp post is that these players will get some time to spend some time with some strong role models. So we talk about developing as a player in the academy, developing on the academic side, but we always talk about how these players develop as people, grow as people. So how huge is this for the girls to be able to give back to, like you said, players that may not even know exactly what hockey may be all about?
Well, it's really neat because you realize, and most of the kids already realize this, and we don't just bring players in because they're good players. We bring real people in that are going to be better people, even though they're good people when they get to us. So our vetting program is really tough, and so sometimes we leave the better players, the goal scorers at home. We don't take them. We take people that we know can exist in a place where it's a small town and do it. But the really neat thing is here is that our players get to communicate with younger kids and get to mentor them, get them to give them a hug and make them feel good about their what they're doing and let them understand what it takes to be a good hockey player. And that can only do wonders for those young girls coming in to see this. And and 5 years from now, if they're a Buffalo, then guess what? They're doing the same thing for another, and that's how this whole world works. I mean, it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. It's good stuff, and it's quality stuff, and so it helps everybody mature and realize that it's not just about themselves as individuals, it's about others as well, caring and respect and all those kind of neat words. So good on us and good for us to be involved in this.
Yeah, and this Academy, of course, has been around for over 10 years at this point. It was their 10-year anniversary last year, of course. And, just great to see how things, like we always talk about, have grown from the dorms to adding more teams in and all the other great stuff that has been built up in small town Pilot Mound,
Mhm.
Manitoba. Recruitment, Gordy, something you want to continue to touch on here. Had a chance to talk to one of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy scouts from overseas in Matthew Seftik. It was a great conversation with him, and he seems really excited, Gordy. How great is that knowing that? I mean, we talked about it before, having passionate scouts, people who are invested in trying to help Pilot Mound get better.
Again, you're stealing my words. Perfect words. Passionate. Absolutely. He's Madic Sevcik is a young guy. He's 20 years old. He's going to school in Denmark. He's from Czechia, Czech Republic. He came to try out with us 4 years ago as a U17 kid. Did not make our team. Ended up going to Notre Dame. Played 2 years in Notre Dame. went back home. But in coming to us, and I was still involved heavily, more heavily in Pilot Mountain directly at the time. In coming to us, he and I bonded. I don't know how because he bonded with an old guy, but Matich and I have been friends for all those 4 years. We've communicated all the time. He's gone into scouting. He loves it. He loves talking to people. He has located all kind and we've put an extra emphasis on our girls program because our program has struggled this year a little bit more than normal. So we put a little bit. So he's out and he's looking at boy players and girl players, but he's found some players, excuse me, in Denmark and in Czechia that he's giving me. I've got a meeting, a Zoom meeting with people in Czechia on Thursday morning. When one of the players from Denmark, who we're chasing quite heavily here, a defenseman girl, she's in over in the World Championships. In the women's World Championships in Italy right now, playing against Canada, she's 15.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And she's an
Crazy.
extremely good player, and so we're trying to land her, and she's interested. So my scout guy, Matic, is boy, if I can find a guy in every state in the U.S. and one guy in every province in Canada or a girl, doesn't matter to me, to go out and just be as keen and interested in finding players, and he's really committed to us, and we're certainly committed to him um, then boy, oh boy, our program is going to excel. We're in our third year, I guess, with our scouting program. It's starting to grow. I did talk to my good friend down in Birmingham, Alabama. He's got two goalies that are ready to come here, and maybe some players. Austin Lotz is his name from St. Adolphe, Manitoba, who's a goalie guy, played pro hockey for 10 years and has now just retired. And so he's got time to do more goalie camps, more in his own program. He's working full time. He works for the Birmingham Bulls as a goalie coach. So I got a couple of guys doing that. I got a guy in Vancouver, a guy in Ontario doing the same thing as Matic is doing. So things are starting to percolate on the recruitment side. But we need people out there who love hockey, who are prepared to go to the rink, find the kids, talk to the parents. Parents love talking about their kids. Send some video, and you never know, they might end up in Pilot Mountain, Manitoba, the best place to learn how to develop as a hockey player in Canada. One last comment. Uh, Locally, we struggle sometimes in our recruitment area on finding players in Manitoba. Sometimes I think foolishly because they're not sure about Pilot Mountain. I know that money is an issue at some point, but sometimes they don't realize that the extra ice time. So if they know their player is going to get better as a AAA player by maybe 15 or 20% because they moved up and they're going to get better, but I can tell you that we're going to be able to make that player 10% better yet again over and above that just because of the ice time, the extra coaching, the extra video, the extra time they can spend in on the hockey side, and the school side doesn't suffer at all, of course. So, please, if you're in Manitoba or close by, Saskatchewan, Ontario, we're a very, very viable place to play hockey. Please check us out on the website www.pilotmounthockeyacademy.com.
And plenty of ice to work with.
Oh,
Well, which is
ice time
one of the
galore.
biggest
You okay?
benefits of CSSHL hockey and specifically
Yep.
Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Gordie Tumilson, as always, joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. We'll connect again next weekend or next week, Gordie. I'm getting ahead of myself in my own right. But yeah, we'll see you in about 7 days from now.
Perfect. Thanks, Grant.